Good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, June 9th, 2025 at 6 p.m. With the quorum being present, I'll call to order the Board of Selectmen meeting. Tonight's meeting will be recorded and will be available on the town's YouTube page. Today, we will be going into executive session and then coming back into open session. We are going into executive session for the following reasons. Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements, specifically General Law, Chapter 38, Section 22, for the purpose of reviewing executive session minutes for approval and determining whether such minutes shall be released in the matter of approving, not releasing the minutes from 5/5/2025, 5/19/2025, 5/28/2025, and 6/2/2025. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Selectman Matthews?
Yes, we're now in executive session. All right, we are now back in open session from executive session. Moving on to agenda item 2. This is a presentation from vendors to provide town insurance for fiscal year 2026. First, we have MIA. Todd, would you state your full name for the record?
Yep, Todd Onesian with Maya.
All right.
And then here are the proposals. That's
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I thought I'd start by just giving a little background information on Maya. Maya was formed about 35 years ago by the MMA, of which you're members. So it's a member-based organization formed by the nonprofit, the MMA. And the reason for its formation was in the 80s, there was a lot of disruption and instability in the commercial marketplace. So Main Street carriers, commercial carriers, I won't name any names, but they would come into the marketplace and they would leave the marketplace, or they'd come in, they'd have a few bad losses, prices would become unsustainable, and you'd be forced to a Lloyd's of London or surplus lines, and costs would be skyrocketing. So the MMA formed MIA, the Mass Interlocal Insurance Association, to be a self-insured member pool just for municipalities in Massachusetts. And since that time, we've grown to insure now about 380 municipal-based entities. So schools, regional school districts, water districts, sewer, light, and towns and cities, just in Massachusetts. And then out of that, we've been able to build a number of resources dedicated just for municipalities. And the programs are all in-house, so it's not like it's some other third party, or it's not a carrier representative, so to speak, it's coworkers. So my coworkers are your risk managers. My coworkers are your claims advisors, claims adjusters as well. And so it's a matter of just walking over or picking up the phone and saying, hey, I need you to do this for this town. And the things they're working towards are for your benefit, not necessarily for the carrier benefit. And I think that's a big distinction. The other thing is we have an extensive training-based program from our risk management team where you're able to earn rewards back. So you're doing trainings that you might be doing anyway, but we have ways to offer it at a reduced rate or for free, and then you're also earning a lot of money back, or can earn a lot of money back by doing those programs to help make the cities, the town safer as well. The other part of that is with the risk manager, you get a whole host of services that go anywhere from valuation of your buildings. If you're doing a new program at the Parks and Recs and they have questions about risk management best practices, they're able to link that up. We also do, we look at your contracts, we review those for you as well, and advise on those also. Outside of that, I did include some information about the rewards program and about the risk management in general. I also included some information about being a member-based organization, we do return a large amount of the premium back to you. And we do that in the form of participation credits, rewards dollars, grants, and dividends. So just in the last 10 years, you've got $54,000 back, a little over $54,000 in participation credits, almost $7,000 this year alone for FY26. For rewards, you've earned $21,000 in the last 10 years. A little over $2,200 this past year, and then dividends, you earned about $309 on workers' comp dividends, for a total of about $2,500 over the last 10 years. So all in all, just on the credits alone, we've received about $78,000 $495 in the last 10 years. And then in terms of risk management grants, over the last 10 years, we paid out another $46,000 in risk management grants, which is stuff that you would choose in conjunction with the risk manager to make, if we're having a hard time with property, we'll be a little more property focused as an example, and would, approve grants like that, like a water flow sensor, or maybe it's an infrared camera to do envelope inspections, as an example. And then I did include just a list of your trainings. I'm not necessarily going to go through all of them, but just the trainings that you've used in your time in Maya. And it just gives you a nice little snapshot of some of the benefits of doing the Maya program. In terms of going through the actual coverages, I don't know how deep you want to dive in, but I thought and I assume we're discussing premiums today? Is that all right? Okay. But the overall number is on the 2-pager. We call it the short form. It's this one. Right here. Yep. And so on page 2, you see the overall premium. So everything including IOD coverage, is $298,303. Now, you really do have to break that down. And we did provide umbrella options going up to $5 million. To go from your current umbrella to $5 million would be $3,581 additional premium. You currently have a $2 million umbrella and did bump up to a $5 million. But we gave you options from 3 all the way to 5. You can just select the one that you like.
What'd you say, how much more was that for the $5
So
million?
for a $5 million umbrella, it would be an additional $3,581.
Thank you.
When we look at the pricing and we break it down, after you apply, so Maya does a 2.5% prepayment discount as long as you pay by August 1st, the town always has. That would represent $5,526 off that total I just gave you. It's not the full amount because the IOD pricing is full chug, so you don't get 2.5% off that. The participation credits for this year are $6,974. The dividend is $309, and the special 1% rewards credit, which we also granted to all Maya members this year, was another $2,288. So your total all-in for just Maya is $205,952. That does not include your IOD.
How much is the IOD?
The IOD would be, for just the base layer of IOD coverage, is $59,458. And for the excess policy, which you've had for years, it would be $17,796 for a total of $77,254. If you use your rewards towards the premium for Maya, your overall Maya would actually end up being $203,664. So add that to the 77, that's all in. I just note a few things. Your overall blanket limit is about 18.5 million, a little bit below that. The way that works is if any town building burnt, if this building burned to the ground, we pay up to 18, we pay whatever it costs to replace up to a maximum of 18.5 million. The deductible is 5,000 for all perils. There is no wind, hail, water, backup of sewer and drain deductible. It's 5,000 across the board. There are other deductibles that might be lower than that. So inland marine, if you have special property, it could be a 500, it could be 1,000. But for all intents and purposes, the main deductible is 5,000. The general liability, the auto liability, they're all at $1 million per occurrence. The aggregate for general liability is $3 million. The public officials, law enforcement liability is $1 million per occurrence, $3 million general aggregate, $7,500 deductibles there. We do pay up to back wages. If you lose a wrongful termination or employment practices case, we pay up to a maximum of $150,000 of back wages.
So is $1 million the most for a vehicle? Is that what I just heard?
Well, yes, you have $1 million combined single limit, bodily injury or property damage.
Okay.
And your umbrella does go over that. So if you use a $2 million umbrella, it's $3 million. If you use a $5 million, it'd be $6 million per occurrence. And then all those aggregate limits, so if it's $1 million, $3 million with an umbrella, if it's a $5 million umbrella, it becomes $6 million, $8 million.
Yeah.
6 million per occurrence, 8 million.
Just think about how much fire trucks cost now. For the
Mm.
chief back there.
Well, there's no first-party property coverage under an umbrella, it's
Okay.
just third-party liability.
It's just fire. Okay, yep, makes
Correct,
sense.
yeah.
You could do a lot of damage though with a fire truck. So.
Absolutely, yes. Pass spelling in. We do include cyber, I should mention that we do include cyber. It's basically $1 million across the board for the majority of coverages. We do have supplements for crime and extortion that are capped at $100,000. But we can offer higher limits there if you need to.
This for like the big ransomware type stuff.
Correct, yeah, ransomware and extortion are capped at $100,000. We can offer higher limits if you need it. And same with, and I mean, pretty much any limit you see here. So if you said, Todd, the $18.5 million blanket doesn't seem like enough, we want 28. It'd be pennies on the dollars to go from 18 to 28.
Gotcha.
I don't think we have a building worth 18
I mean,
million.
the closest we have is probably the police
PD.
station, right?
Yeah.
But that's not
It's probably
quite.
about 18 million. It
Yeah.
costs 12 to build, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
So-
say, in today's date, with
5
the way
years
the
ago.
increase and everything is it probably would be that to replace.
It's very affordable to adjust those limits.
Mhm.
Do we have any current buildings that are not insured? I know that we own that are not insurable.
We knocked that one down.
That's the
one
only one I
down.
could think of, right? Was the red building?
Yeah. The schoolhouse is, does this include, the schoolhouse and those, Lloyd's of London numbers and those other policies that we have to carry?
No, it wouldn't include any ancillary policies, anything outside of that.
Okay.
And I'm not sure exactly which location that is, but if it's on here, we're insuring it. If it's not,
Yeah, I think that's a separate policy, right? Lloyd's of London. Is it like 3,500 sound about right for that?
I was thinking it was like 4 to 5.
It's around $4,000 maybe for that building, the schoolhouse, because it's vacant, is not included in the regular policy. Now, I know we've talked before, if we were to change companies, we have our health insurance through Maya. Do you know whether we can continue with that?
yes, there's no, it's separate companies.
So that wouldn't disrupt. How about Chubb? Is something Chubb that we could still purchase through you if we so decided to keep that coverage?
Yes, so the only coverage so anything that's Chubb that you can do on your own, but anything within Maya is all or nothing. So
Okay.
with the Maya itself is all or nothing, but the Chubb can be on its own, with Maya, without Maya. Maya Health can be separate or on its own as well.
Okay, because those are important policies.
If you do leave Maya, the only thing is you don't get your rewards, you don't get the participation credits, you don't get the dividend, the
Right.
FY26.
So we basically have to look at the price after the rewards and compare that
Yep.
To other policies.
Well, if you stay with Maya, then you get all of those.
Right. Right, I mean, those change, those are all over the place. This year particularly, we got more than we usually get, right?
Changes for,
The rewards.
yeah, this year you're up a little bit. Yep.
Mhm.
Is there a reason why we're up more this year, you think, versus previous years?
A lot of folks had a difficult time since COVID,
Mhm.
and since then, they've never really fully come back in the
Mhm.
numbers we've seen. Last year was about close enough, so it seems like you guys kind of have done something similar. Although 2022, you earned $4,700 that year, so there's a little more potential in here.
I think Luann like just about killed herself to get that
Well,
4,700.
in some years, things might be a little more relevant to what you have going on in town, so it might lend itself more naturally to earning rewards,
Mm-hmm.
depending on the trainings that are available.
Mhm.
We use the rewards to push
Training.
trainings that are helping our program in areas where we're hurting as well. So if we're having, like, if property reinsurance rates are very high, which they are and have been, we're gonna be pushing a lot of property-related Maya rewards type
Mhm.
things.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But the participation credits are just whatever's left at the end of the year, like, right? They don't.
Kind of, it's just, it's a matter of surplus, and then if the program is performing well, we return premium back to the membership.
Okay.
Dividends. All right. Any specific questions?
No, you guys have done a good job asking questions and great job answering. Thank you.
You good?
And just didn't know if there's a timeline for a decision, just a ballpark. It's the first question I'll get when we get back to you.
Yeah.
When are they
Well,
ready?
I'm gonna, you know, we have to have it done by July 1st, right?
That's,
So
we
we're
need
kind
to
of
know
running
by
out of time.
June 30th.
June
By
30th.
June 30th.
Well,
It'd be nice to know a little bit before.
so I think we'll probably vote on next meeting?
Yeah, I think the next meeting we'll have to have a little bit of a discussion and decide what you wanna do on
Which would be,
next Monday.
16th.
oh, back-to-back weeks, huh?
Yeah, because that's it until July 7th, unless we do a Zoom,
Yeah.
meeting in between.
So, yeah, so next week is a strong possibility.
Okay, if there's any further clarifications on any parts of the proposal, or if you need a further presentation, just let us know. We'll be happy to make it happen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, next up, we have USI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Travelers.
Okay, thank you for joining us. Why don't you just state your names for the record, please?
Yep, Michael Bowler from USI, team leader out of our Warwick, Rhode Island office, also a town resident.
I'm Jonathan Finn from Bowery Group and Risk Strategies, and our office is out of Marshfield, Massachusetts.
Daniel Horowitz, Territory Manager with Travelers, and based in Hartford, Connecticut.
Welcome.
So you can see we brought a team approach.
Yeah.
That's what USI stands for, so. If you'd like, we can flip to page 2. I promise we're not gonna highlight or talk about all 45 pages tonight, so I'm sure everybody wants to get home to their family and eat, so. Page 2, just about USI a little bit more. Obviously, Mike Bowler, town resident, team leader on the production side. We'll go over a little bit more about the USI One Advantage, just how we structure that and help our clients. Some business issues and challenges that the town of Freetown does have with spending a little time with Ms. Petty and Ms. Souza. Go over some property and casualty solutions, and I will turn it over in a little bit to our travelers and VFIS rep. Page 3, that's just a broad network of USI. What we do is there's over 200 offices for USI, so being a national broker, we lean on other offices and other technology and different data analytics to kind of drive our results. And working with Travelers, one of the largest writers all over the country, everybody knows the Travelers umbrella, everybody's seen the commercial. So here at USI, we're actually their #1 vendor partner. So kind of a little more kind of push and tug when we need a little help and assistance. Travelers is there for us. Next page is 4. That's our dedicated team that would help out each week of the year. Basically there with anything, service, dedication, support. You can see Miss Linda Van Bars, she's our tech resources leader for claims. She actually lives down the Cape, and she runs a team of 15 dedicated support claims people that USI has in our New England region. And then you have Chris and Ben that would do the day-to-day on your account, basically billing, policies, change orders, certificates of insurance, things like that. Page 5, just a little bit more about USI, who we are, right? Over 10,000 employees, the 6th largest privately held broker, and the experience that we have, over 150 years. That's kind of merging and acquiring other agencies all around the country. Page 6, a little bit more about our national capabilities, and you can see we're a full service broker. So we have employee benefits, we have personal risk, we have retirement, So kind of that whole broad spectrum. Page 7 is a little bit more about our community involvement. We do USI Cares, our give back. We give back to our communities, whether it's cleanup days, sponsoring different things, getting involved with the youth. And you can see we have quite a few awards that we give. We've been, whether it's Glassdoor or some of the other items out there that we've been a leader in. Page 8, a little bit more about our risk management. So dedicated claims team, risk control and analytics, that drives results. Analytics drives results. So we have a back office team that looks at losses that the town of Freetown would have, see what those drivers are, and we have a proprietary risk management platform called PATH that can really focus in on those areas as need be to help you reduce risk in the organization and lessen those claims and really get involved. That's our focus there. Page 9 is our risk management center. So it's tailored and platformed to you. So what that actually does is it rolls out a whole bunch of resources, whether it's HR driven, whether it's loss, claims, technology, resources, different things like that. We use a platform that would be given to Miss Luann, Miss Petty, any of the team that needs it for the town of Freetown, and that's part of our risk management program. No extra, it's all included. All of our clients at USI get that. Page 10, a little bit more about certificate tracking. I know that's a lot of times a lot of handling when you're dealing with vendors or contractors that work for the town that come in, right? You want to make sure that they're covered for bodily injury, may cause property damage, whether it's the HVAC guy at town hall or it's the trash person picking something up. If they were to back into a vehicle, that certificate tracker would be huge for, say, Luann to really focus in on and put that into the portal and make sure that everybody's covered properly that comes on town property. Page 11 is dedicated team, USI safety, and you can see the different consultants that are there that really dig in and help out. They offer OSHA training, different things like that. Page 12, just a little bit more about our property and casualty practice. And then page 13 really highlights our USI public entity practice. So we're vertically focused at USI. So we have specialists in the construction area, the healthcare area, manufacturing and distribution area, and the public entity. So we have over 2,000 clients across the country that USI serves. And page 14, just a handful of them, that's all. Just wanted to let you know a few of them that are in our state and obviously local that maybe you've, or you need a reference or something like that from. Page 15, a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of time and effort has gone into this, and the heavy lifting has been done. So if you choose to go with USI, we're 99% there. We've done all the work. We've looked at all the buildings. Loss control from travelers has already come out. So a lot of those things have been done. So the onboarding schedule and our dedicated platform to the town of Freetown, the next steps is just say yes. It's already been done. The heavy lifting's over. So that's a good thing.
I just want to make sure, right? Because that's a big piece of changing.
I know, it is,
So-
yeah, yep, correct.
Pretty easy to move.
Yes, yeah, yep, and that dedicated team that I showed you back on page 4, they would actually come in and you would get to meet them. They would go over some of the items that they may need, may not need, show you some of the resources that we have, and kind of be done with it and move on. Page 16, I will turn over to Jonathan, our VFIS rep, because I know the IOD coverage is very important to our police and fire.
So just in the interest of brevity, I'll just give you a quick synopsis of the VFIS program. VFIS is a national carrier that specializes in ensuring emergency service organizations across all 50 states. They've been doing it for 50 years. They are regarded as the experts in emergency service organization insurance. Our office here in Massachusetts, which is in Marshfield, specializes in the injured on duty program for Massachusetts, as well as I handle Southern New England for injured on duty, as well as insuring fire districts. We work with about 140 communities in the state of Massachusetts. We have the claims adjusters are located in our Marshfield office. We don't third-party out rating of bills. Anything, information that comes in from your employees is going to stay directly in our office. The reason I bring that up is in today's world with insurance companies, a lot of information gets transmitted all over the country and the world. So we're trying to protect your employees' information in our office. One of the ways that we do business that a lot of communities do like is you have an adjuster that'll be assigned to the town. So you're dealing with one point of contact rather than saying, well, this is this type of injury, so now I've got to call this adjuster to find out what's going on. Now we have an orthopedic claim, so now I've got to call a different adjuster to find out what's going on with that. That seems to be the spot where a lot of communities like to land on their IOD program. I have included our resource catalog. Most of the training is free. A lot of it is online. There is quite a bit of in-person training. Emergency vehicle drivers training is an in-person training that we do. We set it up as train the trainer. The philosophy there is if you have somebody that's trained as a trainer here in your community, that person can now train personnel in the fire department without having to seek out extra training and paying for it or setting up a time for it. So we're trying to push that power down to the community. I pushed it down too much. So that is the VFIS program as it stands right now in Massachusetts. Again, our office is in Marshfield, and the folks that work there, we're all there 100% of the time, 5 days a week. Don't want the lights to go off again. So,
Thank you, Jonathan. We can obviously flip through some of these. This was more or less to make sure the comfort level for Chief Ashley and Chief Rose, that they know the breadth and the depth that VFIS and the coverage that they have and the local capabilities and being right there with the resources. And obviously having Jonathan show up here.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, that's a big piece, so
It is.
It's something we're gonna have to spend some more time with.
It is, yeah.
Because we use Chubb quite frequently, right? So,
Yep.
and something that I don't feel comfortable, and I wouldn't recommend the board feel comfortable till the chiefs have, time to really do some
Yep.
legwork and give their input, because they're the ones that use it, and it affects them and their departments,
Correct.
the
Yeah.
most, right? So like
Yep.
that piece, we're gonna definitely need to have
Absolutely.
more
Yeah.
consultation if we, or we just leave it where it is and we don't, you know what I mean? We leave Chubb in through Meyer, because I'm concerned about that, and I haven't had enough time to really digest it all.
Yeah. And that's why bringing in
Yeah.
Jonathan and his
So
expertise.
it's something we'll have more conversations with,
Exactly, correct.
and we just haven't
can,
been able to
yes.
get that
Yep.
done, yeah.
Yep. So we can go ahead and flip ahead to page 31. That starts off with our commercial package program, and that's all through Travelers. That's lists all 21 locations that are insured, including the schoolhouse, so there's no more vacant policy needed. Even though that building is vacant, it's seen every day when the employees show up at 3 North Main Street at Town Hall. 5 is right next door, no issues. It's just not in the blanket coverage. It's covered for $450,000 of agreed value if, God forbid, anything was to happen to the historical building. So travel has included that in. I know that was definitely a discussion topic there. But all of the 21 locations are there. So if you flip over to 32, we actually have $23 million of blanketed coverage across those 21 locations. And that's building coverage and business personal property. Currently, you're 18 million and change. So how that works, there's a statement of values that was provided from Luann that we went through and we looked at. And what we do is USI and Travelers has an extensive cost estimator computer program. So to put a building back up to today's like, kind, and quality, look at the town hall, right? You know, historical building, even if it was the square footage, if that's insured for $3 million, it may need a little more or a little less here or there. That's what the blanket does. You can share the limit across any of the buildings and locations where it may need be. Also included in that is business income. Obviously, if there's a partial loss or a total loss at one of the 21 locations and employees or people can't go to that location anymore, you can put in a business income claim, ALS, actual loss sustained, and you'll be able to get, show receipts and pull from the policy to make sure that if there's any loans or things out there, bills coming in, you can still keep that property and keep it moving forward. Flood, earthquake, and equipment breakdown are all included in that commercial program with Travelers. And why that's highlighted there is because you do not have that coverage right now. So at any one given location of the 21 locations, you have $1 million, up to $1 million of flood or earthquake coverage. One huge factor is you're on one of the largest faults in the Northeast to have earthquake coverage. That's important. And obviously the major floods, the 100-year storm, it seems to rain all the time nowadays, of 2010 could come back around again where Forge Pond or a Sonnet River or something may flood and you get some water that may come over the bandstand, town hall, the library, different things like that. You would actually have coverage for business personal property, the building, and business income. So
Is the town hall in the flood zone? I
Yes,
feel like it must be, right? Yeah.
it is.
Oh, yeah.
Fire station 1.
Yep. If that is, then
Yeah,
that is
all
too.
in that.
yeah, all in
area.
that village area right there. Yeah, so we're providing coverage for that. Page 33, that's the contractor equipment basically. Mr. Macumber's highway department, machinery, tools, and equipment that may need to get covered. Small hand tools, weed whackers, different things like that, leaf blowers, and then big items are scheduled. Could be lawnmowers, bobcats, different things like that that are used to maintain and protect the town. Page 34 is the commercial auto. It's symbol 1, so that's any auto that the town owns would be covered for up to $1 million combined single limit. Something that Travelers does a little bit different, they do not do replacement cost. We picked 9 units that are valued over $100,000. So it could be a fire truck that's worth $350,000. It could be a brand new ambulance that's worth $200,000 or $250,000. We put an agreed value on that power unit, and Travelers would pay up to that limit. So basically the same thing as replacement cost. But some of the older pickup trucks, dump trucks, things like that, you wouldn't put agreed value on them. You'd do ACV. Page 35, general liability. So obviously that's covering any kind of property damage, bodily injury that may arise out of the function of the town. You can see there all the limits. It's the 1-3, $1 million for occurrence, $3 million general aggregate. Why sewer backup limit is excluded? Because it's covered on the property. So it's just not liability coverage. And then another feature too that was added new with working with Ms. Petty, Ms. Souza, and a former Chief Abbott has been working on a lot of policies and procedures for the town over the last year or two. So Travelers is offering $100,000 of abuse and molestation, and you can go up to $1 million if we get everything finalized and signed off, which I know has been a work in progress. So that's an important piece that you do not currently have right now. So just think of any volunteers that are coming in, whether it's the election committee, the summer boat staff, different things like that. There's a lot of people that could come in contact, and there's no coverage right now. On to 36, general liability limits, employee benefits. So that's basically the health, dental, vision for any of the employees in town. Say they didn't get added on for a reason, you can go through the liability policy to get something covered. Law enforcement liability, obviously very, very important. Public entity management liability, the boards, town officials, things like that. And then employment related practices liability, EPLI, hiring, firing, harassment, wrongful termination, things like that. Page 37, we benchmarked the limits and looked at other towns in municipalities and cities that are the same scope or size and volume of the, the size of Freetown, and 5 million was the limit that we chose and benchmarked. I know you currently have a 2 million, you've been looking at going to higher limits before. The difference between that 2 to 5 was $2,000. So we jumped right to the 5. And then you can see down below, $1 million per occurrence, or CSL, all the different coverages down below that the umbrella sits over. Page 38, here's your premium summary to run down and show each line item. So whether it's property, general liability, the auto, EPLI, the umbrella, you can see is 13,000. You add in Travelers 1 million of cyber coverage. You add in Argo's workers' comp of 1 million, 1 million, 1 million, 31,000. So our all-in price is 200,000 for property casualty. The IOD is separate. We went over that earlier. It's $76,000. So all in, we're $276,000. And we do have flexible bill pays, 1, 2, or 4 pay. So I'm sure thinking about budgeting and money, keep your money a little bit longer, we could do a quarterly payment program, not all up front. Next, I will turn it over to Daniel Horowitz for the Travelers
Thanks, Mike.
highlight.
First and foremost, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. I know this is a busy time of year, and it's not easy to put together meetings like this, so thank you very much. And thank you for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. Deb and Lynn, you have some of the information on Travelers and what we do offer, but what I want to do is be conscious of your time first and foremost, and just give a quick overview of who Travelers Public Sector is and what we do and the team approach we do take. So as you know, Travelers, company with umbrella, we're one of the largest writers in the country of municipalities. We write in almost every single state. We also concentrate here in the Northeast. So while I'm based in Hartford, all your local team members are based throughout the New England area. So for example, our risk control consultant, Andrea, is right in this area, and most of your team members is based in Hartford. We have a local office in Braintree as well. When you take a look at Travelers Public Entity, what we do is we take more of a team approach. So when we bring on a new client or retain a particular client, you have different facets of points of communication. So what we value the most here with a new client is the onboarding process. That onboarding process is very in touch with the insured, so we're here with you throughout the process in terms of getting you comfortable with the claims process. Sticking around the claims side of the house, when you become a Travelers client through public entity, you have what's called a claim account executive, and that's basically your quarterback. So we all know claims do occur, and a lot of times you do deal with different adjusters, but what we do here at Travelers Public Sector is assign you a claim account executive so that you have your own quarterback, so that this way anything goes awry or you just have questions in general, you have one point of contact to kind of direct you in the direction you need to go. The second part we really focus on is the risk management side of the house. So when you look at Travelers itself in the public entity division, all our touch points that you have with us are public entity focused. It takes someone to understand the municipality world, so everyone you work with from a Travelers Public Sector standpoint has a specialty on the public entity side. So risk management team, Andrea's been with us for many years now, and her specialty is public sector. She meets with towns, she works with towns, she provides services. A lot of the services similar to that Mike described before and through VFIS are all included too. So we use a program called Local GovU. Local GovU does provide trainings. That training can anywhere from the volunteer side all the way through the abuse and molestation coverages too. And then the third facet that we really like to point out is what's called our RIMIS program, which is our risk management information system. So anyone who's really in tune to claim handling, understanding trends, seeing what's going on, our program allows you to dive deep into that, providing charts, graphs, and adds a feature called location coding. And what location coding does is allows you to set up your particular town in our system to understand where claims are coming from. In this day and age, there are a ton of trends going on, a ton of things in the marketplace, so it's really important to be proactive than reactive. And that's one of the benefits of Travelers. While we are, throughout the country, one of the largest writers in the country, we do have a local presence too. So what we're able to do is kind of gather all those trends that are happening around the country and apply it locally too before it actually does occur. Because in this day and age, everything is extremely unstable. There's a lot of changes in the marketplace coming from the law enforcement side of the house, all the way through the catastrophe losses. Fortunate enough, in the Northeast, we're pushing pretty well, so we're keeping our fingers crossed, but at the same time, you're starting to see the 100-year floods happen. You're starting to see a lot of things happening that are different than before, especially on the auto side. What we're seeing on the auto side is a lot of losses that are piercing the umbrellas. And that's new to us. So what we're doing is making sure that we're taking more of a proactive approach with our municipalities to make sure that we do not see that. That claim handling, that process is a yearly process. So it's not a matter of us, we come to you at the end of the year or the beginning, provide you a proposal and say, see you later. We work with you throughout the year, whether it's risk management, whether it's the claim side, whether it's working with our risk management team. On the sheet in here, you'll see the team that you'll actually deal with, from Andrea to myself to the underwriter. But for the most part, we team up with Mike at USI. What's critical about Traveler's success with most of our municipalities is having Mike and USI. We work together hand in hand. We make it easier for the insured to deal with, whether it's claims handling, whether it's risk management, whatever you prefer, we put it in your hands to deal directly through Mike at USI or through us. That's totally up to you. But we try to be as flexible as possible to understand what your needs are first and foremost. So, any questions for Travelers? I didn't go through the exact slides. I figured because of time, I'll leave it with you to kind of go through. If you need any more information, feel free to reach out to any one of us on our team. We provide demos. Some of the programs that we do provide in the training, we can show you exactly what those look like. But
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's, we know that Maya provides a lot of training, and I've said that, right? And that,
Yep.
I find that very valuable. So that was one of the things that I was concerned about. It's because we use them. I use them, I enjoy them. I'm always looking for a training for something, so I want to make sure that I have comparable trainings. And I like that it's a public sector, so it understands municipal stuff.
Right,
As I
yeah.
call it, municipal world, so.
totally agree.
Yeah, and one other risk management tool that Travelers provides, I actually reached out to Andrea Cravino, our loss control specialist for Travelers, that came out and spent time with
Everybody, yeah.
Lieutenant Levesque, Deb, Luann, and
Chuck,
down the street. So I know at the town meeting the other night, you guys allocated in one of the articles $18,000 for the police and the fire to do active shooter training. Travelers actually gives that to you. It's an online portal. It's not live. I'm sure $18,000 was probably a live scenario.
It was.
But I'm just letting you know that Travelers does offer that, so it could be something to supplement and support what you're doing with that. But that's free of charge with their library of risk management tools. So I just figured I'd highlight that. Correct, yeah. So there is a lot of things that are dedicated to the public entity practice, so.
interesting.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll be voting on this shortly, and so I really appreciate the presentation. And
Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
Any more
Thanks for the
questions?
information
If
right
we have
there.
any follow-up questions, we'll go through, probably will.
Okay, good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
All right. All right, so next on the agenda item 3. This is discussion of vote whether to approve open session minutes from 5/5/2025 and 6/2/2025. Anyone have any questions or concerns?
No, all good, thank you.
That one, to motion to approve open session minutes from 5/5/2025 and 6/2/2025.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, agenda item 4, discussion and vote whether to declare the fire department items listed in attachment A as surplus and what to do with these items. Chief?
Greetings.
Good evening,
Hey,
sir.
Chief.
How are we doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Oh, I'm gonna admit, I had to Google where Paraguay.
It's in the middle of South America.
I know where it is now. I had to do a little research.
All right, in a nutshell, we discovered a great deal of items when we were relocating things from Station 3 to prepare for the addition, like boxes of pass devices, personal alert security devices, and all this antique stuff that was stored away. It all, we were like, get it out of here, go put it in the storage box, we'll get an inventory, we'll deal with it later on. Last month at my Mass Fire Chiefs meeting, this Paraguay program comes up. The National Guard's putting together fire equipment, outdated equipment, turnout gear, hose, whatever anybody's willing to spare to go to Paraguay for this program they're sponsoring there. So I got back, I said to the captain, I said, hey, go look through the Connex box, take the stuff that we're never gonna use, we don't have any use for, put it in a pile, give me an inventory list, and I'm gonna see if we can send this to Paraguay. The majority of it, I will give you a little disclaimer, the highway department took the hose, which is at the last two items at the bottom.
Okay.
Because that, previously, once in a while, they'll come borrow some from us. This just seemed like Eric said, oh yeah, we can use that, so they have those.
Perfect.
So the rest of it is outdated, it's not compliant for us to use. The air packs are like 2 generations ago. It's all things that collecting dust, they have no value to anyone stateside, I don't believe. And it's just an opportunity to maybe do some good with it and for us to have a little purge from what we're storing. So that's
That's a no-brainer.
where I am with that.
Makes sense to me.
Spring cleaning.
Yeah. Any questions or concerns?
No, thank you.
All right.
Do the radios, are the radios any good?
No, they're not compatible
They're
with.
not, because I know the parade and fireworks wanted radios.
Okay, so the problem with the radios is, and I discussed that because Luann brought it up, you'd have to talk on the police or fire channel, because that's what's in them, right?
Oh, they can't be programmed anymore to put in a
Well, you
government channel?
need a channel from the FCC to put in it. So I don't know,
We have the local
how
government channel,
many
right?
do you need for that, Dave?
We're looking at about 6 radios. I think Chief Rose was looking into using his radios on a different channel,
Okay,
so.
well, yeah,
Should be okay.
we'll come up with something for you to use that, between him and I,
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll come up with something for you to.
Yeah. Originally, the Kenwoods were gonna get thrown away, or not thrown away, or donated somewhere else.
Right.
So we thought of those to, but then the FCC and different
Right,
channels
you
and
have
everything else.
all those hurdles to jump through.
Okay, that's all. Just want to make sure that we have what we need.
Okay. All right, ready to vote? All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to declare the fire department items listed in attachment A as surplus and to donate these through the Massachusetts and Paraguay National Guard Bureau State Partnership Program.
A motion made.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Chief, thank you for the explanation too. Appreciate it.
All right, agenda item 5, discussion and vote whether to approve the ambulance abatements and write-offs. I think we forgot the off on write-offs.
Nope.
For May 2025 in the sum of $185,551.26. And it looks like we actually received, what, 76,000 if I remember correctly?
72,000.
72. Wasn't that far off. Any questions or concerns?
No.
All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the ambulance abatements for 2025, May 2025.
A motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, agenda item 6, discussion and vote on pay rate for transfer station per diem attendant effective 7/1/2025. I can't talk tonight. And the request is for $20 per an hour.
Yes. Been here for a while. Doesn't get standard raises like, our union employees and bylaw employees and contract employees, so.
What are they at now? I didn't.
He was at 18, I think
Okay.
that's a couple of years now at that rate. He didn't get a raise last year.
Okay, any questions, concerns?
The only question I had was, why wasn't this addressed or brought up during budget discussions? Kind of late in the season too.
It was it was put in the transfer station budget
Was it?
at the higher rate. He only works 4 hours a week or 5 hours a week. He works the Sunday hours, and he only works from the April to October. So you probably didn't notice a huge increase to the budget, but it was talked about with Vicky and put in her budget.
Yeah, it's like probably $100 a year.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't more
$8.
money, it was more the principle. I went back to the budget book and kind of looked for it and I couldn't see it.
Yeah, that was gonna be my concern was, is it in the budget to be able
Yeah,
to give them the
it's
increase?
in the budget.
And we're good. I'm okay with it. Everyone
Yeah.
deserves a raise if they're doing a good job, especially if he's in there working on the Sundays.
So, yeah, it's a Sunday, it's $10 a week. I don't know, there might be 26 weeks he works, so
Yeah.
$260.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the $20 request for transportation for diem attendant effective 7/1/2025.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, agenda item 7, discuss and vote whether to approve the Freetown Multipurpose Senior Center use policy. All look pretty normal.
Mhm. Yeah, there's nothing crazy in it, that's for sure.
So there's no political activities.
That was my question. Did this come out of being proactive or reactive?
Honestly, I think this was drafted by Rebecca for the COA, based on some of their stuff. I haven't looked at it recently,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I think you always have concerns when you have, although local groups, but private groups want to use the space, right? There's always a liability to the town. So I have concerns, I think, with some of that. I think we all do our best to accommodate the local groups, but you always have to worry about liability too.
yeah.
Yeah, and then this helps just draw the line in the sand as to what we can and can't do, and that way you're not.
Yeah, well, it's a place to start too, as things go wrong, and we'll adjust the policy, right?
Mhm.
All right, yeah, but it looks pretty standard. Nothing jumped at me as being crazy. Any
No.
questions or concerns?
No.
The only thing that doesn't cover on here is when we do outside groups, or even in local groups, clean up and everything else. I didn't see who's in charge of shutting the doors. I don't see who's cleaning up the facility, who's in charge of that. What I don't want is, no, I misspoke.
I thought I saw
Right
that in
there.
there.
Yeah, it is there. Sorry. No, that's good.
Okay.
I'm glad it's in there, because that was my concern. I didn't want having an additional burden on the COA staff, cleaning up, or even our staff. top of
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah.
putting it back to
Correct.
its
Like
previous conditions.
I was like considering when I was reading this, like, if we want to charge like a deposit of some sort that you get back, for outside groups that are not the town that want to use it, but
I think we want to be very careful about
Yeah.
who we let use our
Yeah.
buildings.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, and then if you have a local nonprofit that doesn't, have the revenue source to be able to put it down, deposit, because then I get it, right, there's to your point, there's liability, but.
Put a credit card down. All right, no, that's fine though. Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Freetown Multipurpose Senior Center use policy.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda item 8, and this one's gonna be tough because I cannot pronounce a word here. Discussion and vote to charge town boundary agent with perambulating,
Perambulating?
which is walking around. I had to Google it. The town of Freetown, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 42, Section 2, to set a framework as to when to start and complete, and to start the search and to record the official report with the town clerk and the board of selectmen. This is pretty much just folks who will go around and identify
I guess they
what
check-
is and is not in Freetown.
Yeah,
right?
they check the town boundaries, and I guess it's supposed to be done every 5 years. The last time it was done was 20 years ago, I think, when Mr. Ashley was a selectman, and he knew where all the boundaries were. So the boundary agents, I guess, had spoken, there's 3 of them, and they said that they would like to do it broken up over 5 years. So they'll just do a constant rotation. They'll do 1/5 a year for each of the next 5 years, and then they'll start over again. And they'll start in Assonet because they're all from Assonet, so that's kind of what they were talking about.
That makes sense to me.
So this was at the request of the town clerk,
Who
because
are
I
the
guess it hasn't
boundary
been done.
agents?
Definitely Mike.
Who are the boundary agents?
I know it's Mike McHugh. Do you know who the other ones who are?
I can get that information to you.
I know we appointed them. You'll be seeing the appointments coming up at the next meeting, or are we doing all the appointments at the next meeting, Luann?
Yeah, the reappointment list is.
Yeah, so you'll
Is
see them at
there
the
a-
next meeting.
Do they get paid for this job?
They don't, that's what I said to her, I mean, now it's just gonna cost, how much time is it to go look at all of these boundaries, but I
Yeah,
don't.
it's a big town.
So does this mean we have people that don't live in town that technically live in town and vice versa? Is that what this is saying? That we potentially have property that doesn't belong in Freetown, but we're counting it as Freetown and vice versa?
I don't know, I
We're
guess
trying
they
to
check
figure
the
that out?
boundaries and,
Yeah,
Wow, that's interesting.
yep.
I think they just have to find the markers, is what originally Mike said when we first were talking about this a few years back. Like, they have to actually physically go see the boundary marker.
Yeah,
make
And
sure it hasn't been
everywhere.
moved.
I don't know. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So, this was requested by the town clerk, so.
Yeah, I would definitely like some more information how they're gonna do that, how they're gonna
I can
tackle
get you,
that
we can,
project.
I mean, you can pass on it and I can get you more information, that's fine.
yeah.
It's not like a super rush, right? It hasn't been done
Oh,
for
right,
8
Yeah,
years, has it?
yeah, and then because it's like, okay, we have a boundary here, and then we have a boundary here, is it a straight line between the two that's where the cutoff is? Because
Yeah.
how would you do that with a small amount of boundaries?
And they're not
In-
surveyors, I mean, they're just going out and
Right.
putting their eyes on them, the boundaries.
Yeah.
So I can certainly get more information and you guys can pass over this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what we're, I don't know.
I'm curious, maybe, I'm sure Mike wouldn't mind coming in and giving us a little
Yeah.
explanation anyways.
Yeah.
It'd be
I'm just
interesting.
concerned, what if they go to Solomon Bay Shores and say, you two are no longer a Freetown residents, right?
Or like
So-
Diana Berkeley or something?
Right.
wouldn't
So
be
we're gonna
good.
make sure that the residents in town.
You would have a hard time getting a quorum.
Oh, I know. It's a lot of process.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna pass on 8 for now and get a little more information. 9,
I think 9 is pretty settled. I mean, we are not buying a time clock. Everybody's gonna clock in on their computers, which I thought is what you guys were saying, right?
Yes.
Did I miss one? So that's that. I don't know if there was more discussion. I think we thought there was leftover discussion from the last meeting so this got put on in case there was more to discuss about the time clock.
yeah, I mean, I think we just haven't yeah, I agree, use the app, we can train them up on how to do that for those who don't know how to do it. Doesn't seem like a big hurdle.
Right.
Do we need to vote on anything specifically, or?
I mean, they already voted for
They
that.
voted.
I say we voted on
Okay,
this, right?
all right, so we'll pass on 9 then. All right, agenda item 10, discussion and vote on town contributions for life insurance for employees and retirees.
So this is one of those leftover, unresolved sort of issues that have been lingering since I got here, I guess. There is no discussion about the contribution rate of, or at least I couldn't find any, of what the employees to contribute versus the employer. The only discussion was in the police CBA, which was called for it to be 80-20, which we just changed to 75-25 with our last contract. So my thought was to have the life insurance rates follow the health insurance rates, the HMO rates of 75-25. The best we can tell, the rates, we were paying 83.17. I don't know where that rate came from. I don't know why. I can't find any rhyme or reason to it. So I needed to make a decision because the life insurance premium has gone up substantially, but we're still talking about, I think it went from $270 a month to $370 a month, $3.70 a month. So while it made a big percentage jump, it's not a big
total
dollars.
dollar value.
Yeah. So I need a decision to be made. And I couldn't find anything in writing. I talked to Joe Fairs. It's like there isn't anything out there. So I thought we should follow our HMO rates at 75-25, and we'll notify all of the employees of the increase. And this is for $5,000 of health and life insurance, for active employees, and then retirees are $2,000 of life insurance that we provide, and we pay the 75%. Well, we're paying 83% of the contribution now, but so
Okay,
I don't know if that
I think
helps.
75-25 seems to make sense to me. And at least we have a rhyme or reason for it, that it lines up with our other insurance
Right, and I think that we wanna probably have it follow our life and HMO life, because we have different for PPO, our HMO life insurance rates moving forward, so that
Yep.
would probably be a better vote for me, because
Okay.
as we change, like, we have new employees coming in at 70/30, so their life insurance rate will be 70/30. So I think we wanna
So the-
vote
Yeah, I was
this.
gonna say, because we have different percentages for different groups, right? So do we fall in line with that? To your point, some
Right.
being 70/30, some being 75/25.
Right, active employees, yes.
So the vote there is sort of the percentage between the employee and town is based on the just health insurance rates?
The HMO health insurance
HMO.
contribution rates.
All right. So I'll entertain a motion that the life insurance rates follow the HMO contribution rates going forward.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Yeah, because then, okay, that makes sense. And should we get that in like in a policy? I don't know if it's really a policy. I don't know what it is, but just as long as like we should get that documented somewhere so that long term.
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna work on our personnel bylaw,
Yeah.
policy, cause it doesn't say anything in there either.
Yep.
And so maybe I can put it in there, and we could probably add it to this next go around to the union contracts, but it's really not discussed in any, like I said, I just did the
Well,
police.
no one
one.
probably wanted to bring it up because we were paying a lot more than.
Well, and it's just like I said, I think it was one of those things that just didn't really get looked at because the rate was the same and we were just paying it.
Yeah.
And then now that the rate has gone up, it's something that needed to be addressed.
Yep, okay, great. All right, agenda item 11, discussion and vote whether to approve the call, firefighter department member, the fall, is that, what is that saying?
The call fire
The
department
call
members?
Call fire, okay, I was very confused there for a second. Let me start over. Discussion and vote whether to approve the call fire department members' cost of living increase of 2.5% as detailed in a letter from Chief Ashley. I think you're good, you don't have to get up. So, that makes sense to me, kind of lines up with, other increases we've had.
Mhm.
It's a modest increase.
Yeah, it's modest. They're not part of the union, chief? Okay, that's my only question.
Sure.
I have a question, Chief, just randomly. So if you're a call firefighter, you have to be a Freetown resident, right? No, you don't?
See, we told you you didn't have to get up, so we jinxed you.
Well, that's okay.
It's good, turn on the lights for us.
You don't have to be a Freetown resident. I have several that aren't, but we need you to be within a reasonable distance. Right?
Okay.
If you live between 140 and County Road in Lakeville, you're much closer to Station 2 than you are to Lakeville's fire station.
Yeah.
I have people that are not town residents, but relatively close.
Are,
It's so hard to recruit call firefighters now that you need to.
yeah, well, I figured. And then, the reason why I asked this, my brother is going to the fire academy in Fall River, starting in October, and he's living right on the Asona line,
Mhm.
and he's still very connected to this town. I'm sure he'd be interested,
Mhm.
in doing that. So that's good. We should. That makes sense. I don't know if there's any kind of conflict of interest there if we. But yeah, so that, yeah. So this is like the rate they get for every hour when they
Right,
call.
when the tone goes off and they come in, that's their
Yeah.
hourly rate.
Yep. All right. Any questions or concerns on this?
Nope.
It's crazy how low it is for,
It's actually, Carlos, we adjusted that,
I don't know.
I would say
2
2 or 3
years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago.
I looked at, the other call departments around, we made a pretty good adjustment to kind of get them up to where everybody else is, but.
Yeah, I feel like people are doing this because they want to do
Right,
it.
Yeah,
that
Right?
is-
yeah.
That's about serving your community or
Yeah.
working your way into the fire service.
Exactly. Yeah.
Than it is.
I remember us changing it years ago and just looking at it again, it's like, we changed it to
Right.
that, and I'm going,
Well,
I have beach attendants that make more than
When
that.
Debbie and I discussed it, we had some that were like barely minimum wage. and
Yeah.
We want these people to go and burning buildings. It was
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
no.
Yeah. At least it's just
We need to do something.
covering their gas money to get to their to the fire station. And then I'm sure there's gotta be a minimum hours, right? Is it like at
We
least?
have minimum standards for training
Yeah,
and callback.
Yep, that makes sense.
But if they get called out, do they get paid a minimum number of hours?
No.
Not really.
It's a
No,
1 hour
they
minimum.
1 hour.
Wow.
1 hour minimum.
And you get them.
The only thing that's not is the union has a 2 hour minimum for calling in for ambulance coverage, but even there, most of theirs is a 1 hour minimum.
Gotcha. All right, well, if we have something to look at, if we have trouble recruiting,
Right.
you know, on call down the line, I think there's probably some movement there.
What the fire, you really haven't had a problem yet.
No,
I think people like doing it, right?
I think so.
It's,
Well, I think Chief kind of started it all by saying people are doing this not really for the money, right?
Right.
So there's, and it's a good recruitment tool for us.
It's good for us, that's our farm system, right, for promotions, and it's good for the employee, because if you have someone that's young, they're out of school, they're trying to find their way, this is a way for them to, I mean, there's some investment for the town with turnout gear and whatnot, but we send them to the fire academy, they get that firefighter 1-2 certification that doesn't expire.
mhm.
You know, they have that, so we're training them, we're investing in them to some degree, and we're getting a return, not necessarily, as you would see, they're not being overly compensated for the time they're giving us, but,
Mhm.
yeah, that, some of that
But
training.
that's what you
they're
pull
getting is
your,
fine.
so you're gonna be hiring two new people based on the budget.
Yep.
And you'll be pulling from your call
I am,
firefighters.
yes.
So they've,
Yes.
Perfect.
he's trained them, he
Right.
knows,
That's.
their
right,
capabilities.
We've been interviewing, right now I have 3 applicants for those 2 positions.
yeah,
and
so.
We've
it-
been interviewing those people for years now.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, but that's part of the reason our system works and people don't leave.
Yep,
Mhm.
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the truth.
You have to be 18.
Yep.
You have to be 18 years old to
Yes.
begin.
Yep.
All right, thanks, chief.
Thank you.
All right, so
Appreciate
with
it
that,
again.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the call firefighter department member cost of living increase of 2.5% as detailed from the letter of Chief Ashley.
Motion made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, agenda item 12, discussion of whether to approve the quote from Civic Plus for website migration to new platform and year one cost. So this is like our actual town website is changing.
Yes, we've dragged our heels as long as we could on the existing platform, because it's another big project, takes 4 months to make it
It
happen.
feels like a lot of work.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good amount of work.
Is this just the Civic Plus or the whole website?
It's the whole website.
Fantastic. Well, not fantastic, but
It's still the same company,
Right.
but they're gonna call it Central Starter now instead of Civic Plus.
It's weird, 'cause like every town, I obviously look at other towns' websites, like to go, you know, if I'm looking up how they do something, whatever, and it's like, they all look exactly the
You
same.
can tell,
Yeah.
yeah, you
You know,
can tell who has
I
it.
think almost everyone I've looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've
Yeah.
looked at a few of the ones that
look at
have
some
made the
as well.
transition, because you can pick like what the front page is gonna look like. They're very similar and whatnot. The functionality is very similar as well. It's just, once we pull the trigger, it's gonna be 4 months of fun.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out where are those 4 months that we wanna play this game. And we
Yeah.
couldn't find a good time of year, so.
rip the Band-Aid
But
off and go.
the one we have, it expires December 31st.
So we have to do it.
Yeah, we're like in the last,
I mean, I guess like the layout and feel, it is a little dated, right? Like I understand why they're like, you know, but
Listen, it was not something I wanted to undertake at all, on any level.
no.
That's why we kept pushing it. I'm like, no,
not yet.
So-
Not yet.
Question on the, so it's $4,789. It says that's like the total investment, and then it says there's also an annual recurring service of $4,789. So is that like,
I think we paid both of those.
it's just weird, it's like a very specific
Same,
number and
yeah.
it's
Exactly
the same.
listed
Is
twice.
you pay that number once, and then you have that notification system. So there's like 2 different numbers.
Yes.
So this is $4,700. It doesn't cost anything to do the migration
That's,
over.
yes, that's what I was,
They're,
yeah.
they're paying for that, and this is just what your yearly fee.
That's our
would be.
yearly fee,
Okay.
which we've been paying all along.
But we have to put like the sweat equity into like,
Yeah, they say
Working
they're
with
gonna
them.
do a lot of it. I did sit through a couple of webinars with Lola on it, and it's gonna be a lot of work.
at least we're not the first town to do it.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like dragging our heels in this might actually be a good thing
Yeah, I
because.
was figuring everybody else could debug it for us.
Exactly.
And then when we have to do it, so we're at the have to do it stage.
And we're not gonna lose any functionality that we currently have.
The only thing that, and we have told department heads, Deb told them at the last meeting, was any of, there's a thing called a cabinet on each department's page.
Yeah,
And you have things that are there that are published, and then you can kind of, right now, you can store your things in an unpublished way,
yep,
but those go away.
okay,
But you can access them right now and save them.
okay, so yeah, so they're using the website as sort of like their own,
Right, like
File.
if I want to go back and get an old job posting, I would just grab it from there, edit
Yeah,
it, and
yeah.
slap it back up. You
That-
won't be able to do that
that's
anymore.
important, and which I understand why they wouldn't want you to do
Yeah,
that.
if it's not published, it's not getting moved over.
That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, and they're gonna give a lot of training, which we're hoping that each department, whoever does their website, because they update their own, that these people will get on these trainings and learn along with
It's
us.
like you read my mind. That was gonna be my question. Are they gonna train everyone? Because we
Yes.
have, you two will be very well versed in it, and Lola, I'm sure, as well, based on the
Not
nature
me.
of
It's
it.
like, not me, and she's like, not me.
Deb's
But-
avoiding that,
but, you know,
the plague.
I don't know, Mike say he might use it one way right now, and the functionality is gonna change. Is that gonna,
He's
are they gonna-
concerned about that because he uses forms, but Luann looked into
I
it.
confirmed it, I think it was, I want to say it was Norton, I went on their site, I think they were the one that had it, and they have forms, so I'm like, fill out like our job application and employment.
Yeah.
You just fill in the blank, they have that on their website, so
Okay,
we shouldn't lose anything there.
But we don't really have a choice, so
Yeah.
trust
Yeah.
me, we push this. I'm going kicking and screaming, but
No, I think it's a good change. It might be painful, but it's needed.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it's some features that you can't get to it as easily as you want, right? And there's some old stuff on there that archival wise it needs to be on there, but that could be in like a different location versus where you see it now. So
I
I'm
think like
happy
the
with this.
bulletin button on the front, like there's like those some of the buttons, they go away,
Okay.
so we
I
won't
haven't
have
found
those.
one, I really honestly haven't found one town webpage that I think is great.
yeah,
Honest to God, I haven't found one that's great. I don't think they're easy to maneuver through. I think somebody could really spend some time to work on them.
make it,
but-
yeah.
Mhm.
All right, cool, thank you. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the quote from Civic Plus for website migration to new platform and the year one cost.
A motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 13, discussion of vote whether to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Matthew Parent effective 7/1/2025 through 6/30/2028. I've looked through this.
Yeah, you guys
Good.
have already discussed this
Yeah.
in executive session.
Yep, looks fair, so.
Yep.
So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the quote, oh, sorry, wow. Entertain a motion to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Matthew Parent effective 7/1/2025 through 6/30/2028.
A motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's what happens, I don't check the box. I read the same thing twice. All right, agenda item 14, discussion of vote whether to approve the agreement between Gildan Inc. and the town of Freetown for the Freetown Elementary School walkway improvements.
You agreed to
We-
award this last
Yeah.
meeting. They were the lowest bidder on the walkway. That's gonna move pretty quickly because we gotta get it done during the summer months.
Yep,
So I think there's a pre-construction meeting coming up the week of the 23rd with all involved. So, we had budgeted for this 2 years ago, but the original scope was much smaller than what ultimately they wanted done. So we needed the extra money at the special town meeting. So we're fully funded now to move forward.
perfect.
And they're not worried about accessibility to that front side of the building during the summer months?
Well, we're gonna meet with the principal Ward and Jack Higgins from, the, superintendent's office to go over that. I think that
I mean,
in the
there's-
past.
There's multiple
I
points
was
of
gonna
entry
say,
around the
they've
building.
used
but-
other, they can use the back,
Mhm,
they can use the end.
mhm.
So I think that's what we'll be talking about on pre-construction with Greg Goodwin, the facilities director, all of those people involved.
Mhm. I mean,
Our
I'm sure
part
they're
of
all
this was
prepared
just-
for it and thought of it. It's
Yeah.
just me thinking out loud.
Our part of this was funding.
Mhm.
All right,
The easy part, right?
Yeah.
so with that, any other questions? You good?
Nope, this is a great
Alright,
project.
So, with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agreement between Gildan Inc. and Town of Freetown for Freetown Elementary School walkway improvements.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, this one's tough. So discussion and vote on next steps for the COA/library building. So
I feel
first
like
of
it
all,
needs to like combine with 16.
yeah,
Yeah, those kind of go hand in hand. I don't know what you want to do. I mean, I think it was certainly a surprise that the purchase of the land did not go through. I guess, I take the blame for not communicating better. The land purchase price, we obviously added cost of engineering into the cost of purchase, which raised it by $100,000. But also the sellers said the price was the price and they were not gonna negotiate the price. They got their own appraisal, which I believe backs up their number, and they were not going to negotiate with us, so I didn't feel like it was prudent to spend the town's money for an appraisal when they were pretty clear that they were not gonna negotiate the number. The number was going to be the number, and that was it. I did try to negotiate the number with them, and they said no, the number was the number, so, I didn't communicate that well. So here we are with the library COA building that we're in the process of doing a feasibility sort of conceptual design for. I gave you the existing conditions plan that we had done a couple of years ago to show you, because I think also that the belief is that there's more land here to build a building.
and I don't think there is, right?
There really is. You'll see the shaded areas is what tells you what there is for land. So
But private, and that's owned by us.
that's all owned by us, but the shaded area is the only areas that actually could put a building on. And you can see they're not overly large areas. So, I think the most realistic would be to that's on the ball field side of Memorial Drive.
Yeah.
This here is the school PD side. I mean, I think it's not a lot of great stuff here. And there's wetlands you see that, and then there's public wells that we
I
can't
was
go
gonna say that
near.
500
So-
foot for the
So
public
that's
wall.
like, yeah,
That's probably like the
that's
only.
2 acres.
Is that, yeah,
So, but this is like that's not trying to do as much good. And this is like 1.5 acres.
right, so where is the COA? Because my only thought is you'd have to like plan on knocking down the COA.
COA's gotta be
This
over
building
here.
right here.
Right? Basketball? No.
Yeah.
This is Chase Road,
Yeah,
Royal.
Yeah.
so there's
That's-
the police station.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
COA, yeah.
So to the right of the COA, which is where the septic system is right now, so that's not shown on there.
So if you knock down, yeah,
So this is the is this the COA? I think this is the COA. Yeah,
this is the
right.
old police
PD.
station.
So, yeah, but that to knock down, we know has asbestos and all of that, and it doesn't give us the room.
About this one.
Here's the other issue, right? We build a bigger building, but we need more parking.
We need more
Right,
parking.
you need more, there's other things associated with the size of the building that are going to need to increase. So it's not just looking at a building and saying, well, we can rip down this building, put up this building, and it'll fit, because it's more than that.
So I don't know if we have, the purchase and sales agreement for the land on Bullock Road is in effect until December of '25. There's a lot of engineering to be done, though, before we decide that that's a good viable piece for the town to buy, although I know that Jared and I walked that land with Mike McHugh. It's incredibly gorgeous out there, I'm not gonna lie to you.
It's a beautiful piece of property.
It's
Yeah.
a beautiful piece, the location is perfect. It's disappointing, to say the least, but again,
But we can have another a special town meeting.
we can. I mean, I think that's sort of why I'm giving this all to you, because we don't have time either. We're gonna start designing a building that we don't know where we're gonna build.
Right.
And I think maybe we need to also like communicate like, this is like, that's what this property is for, right? Like the
Right.
short term, like we wanna have a couple different things, right? Like it's for a COA library, and if someone else can find a big plot of land that's located right next to here that's also for sale, like please tell us about it, because I don't think it exists. But it's for that, and then longer term, that gives us space to grow, right? If someday we do need to build another town hall, which we know our town hall has a lot of problems,
We're just outgrowing the townhouse, so like by leaps and bounds, we're just so.
But we could have a structural issue there as well,
Right.
right? Like I've been in the basement there. It's not good. It's not good.
So it's
So-
fine, it's fine.
I'm not an engineer, but I know when something is.
And I wish I did a better job at the meeting of, you know, really talking about that. But one of the things I did start by saying is literally since day one, I heard complaints from people about having stuff centrally located, right? And not being happy living on the Rochester side, having to go to town hall or whatever. So
Or
that
any
was
services,
really-
right?
So having the room for the services to grow, because the population in this town will grow, you know, to be able to.
That's the
go
thing, I
into
mean, we
future.
should buy the land, whether we get a new building and we get funding for that new building is a different discussion almost, right? But if we do, at least we know it's gonna go centrally located, which again, I hear the complaints too. And hopefully it will mend this divide between Freetown and Asonet, right? Like, as I told you, I didn't know that existed, and so we wanna mend that divide
Push it
and
back
have
to the
things
room.
centrally located.
Yep,
Am I allowed to comment?
yeah, just name for the record.
Mark Rosovsky, Chase Road. I've been a shadowing over here on this bed. So one of the things that I heard from other townspeople after the meeting was, one, there wasn't enough information, but some of the concerns are, there's 8 acres of buildable land on that 33-acre parcel. The ability to, it's approximately, there's a lot of wetlands in that 33-acre parcel. You're saying that there isn't?
No, we've had the wetlands surveyed,
Yeah,
How many
that's-
acres of wetland?
not even acres, like, there's one section very small.
So there's 31 acres of buildable land, upland.
There's probably 31 acres of uplands. We're working with natural heritage to determine how much of it will be usable,
So-
but
So that's owned by Acushnet Sawmills, the trust, I believe.
yes.
And perhaps if you approached the trust and said, we'll pay $2.5 million, I think $2.5 million is a lot of money for the land, but that's just me. Today's world, everything costs millions. We'll pay $2.5 million, but maybe we'll pay it out over 20 years, okay? And come up with a creative financing plan between the town of Freetown and Acushnet Sawmills. Acushnet Sawmills owns a lot of acreage in this town. They're not going anywhere really quick. That money, I don't know if they desperately need the money, right? They're just considering selling. Come up with something which is a little bit more creative that you can sell to the townspeople, rather than it's a lump sum $2.5 million
Okay, so-
out of reserves.
So as a,
this is where the communication, I failed with the communication. First of all, they were not selling this property. I approached them to see if they would sell it to the town because we needed it. They are not interested in selling it. And that is one of the reasons why we kept things in executive session. They did not want people to be coming at them because they're not selling this land. If not for the town wanting it, they would not be selling it, number one. Number two, I did ask them to do terms. They said no. So we've been negotiating this for some time now. I've tried all of what
She
you're
had the same
saying.
exact idea that you just
Yeah.
said. It's funny, like it was literally the same exact
It was
idea.
deja vu. So-
I was like, this sounds really familiar. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That
So,
was- yeah.
So
the
can we
eight,
take it through eminent domain?
I can't even imagine the paperwork, and it probably cost me more than what we're, and I don't know that we have a pressing need to pass eminent domain. I mean,
Yeah, it might not hold up. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's also like, you know,
It's a hostile takeover. Right?
yeah, I don't feel good about it.
yeah.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, this isn't needing a couple of feet for a roadway to make it or something, you know, this is, you know,
Yeah.
so we've had a lot of questions in and around the property, right, that we didn't talk about. And I think by my standards, I left vague on purpose because what you're saying, if 8 acres, you must be coming off of percentage of what the land is because of natural heritage? Is that where you came up with the 8 acres of buildable
No,
land?
it was discussed that there's a minimal amount of buildable land on that property, but maybe that's because it's.
Yeah, because, well, it's all in natural heritage, right? So that was one thing that I did say in the meeting is that, you know, we're really trying to work on what it is, and it could all come to percentages, and we have a purchase and sale signed, but we wouldn't feel comfortable spending the town's money if they came back and said, yeah, you can only use 4 acres of it. It wouldn't be a good business decision from us. So there was still hold-offs, like even even if we got the funding on town floor, we weren't necessarily gonna have the land tomorrow.
Yeah.
So just to make a point that it was voted down at the town meeting, there were a few things that were voted down at town meeting. And you can see how involved people are in what's going on in town by the crowd in this room, in the observation side. So, you know, if people are watching the video, they need to show up here.
Yeah.
They need to tell you people what they think, rather than just show up at town meeting and not get all the information and make a decision on, you know, a scintilla of the information rather than all of it. And you can't give, I realize that your board can't present all the information, and Debbie can't present all the information at town meeting, because town meeting would take 10 hours.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so it's somewhat a failure of the citizenry of the town for not showing up.
Yeah, we can picky Monday morning quarterback it all day. It's at the end of the day, on the surface, it failed, right? But if you look at the votes, it only failed by less than a dozen.
Yeah,
right?
it was like
So,
60%, 61%.
right. It didn't vote by many votes. It didn't fail by many votes, I should say. So definitely, I think trying again is the way to go. I will admit and state that I'm on the chair of the subcommittee for the Council of Aging Library, and this land is specifically built for the residents of town. Right? For years and years and years, 30, 40 years, we've been hearing about Council of Aging needing more room. Here's a good example. You build it, they will come. And they have showed up, right? They've proven that they need more room. Same thing with the library. There's no running waters, it's older. They get used, right? At first I was a skeptic. I was like, who's going to libraries? Turns out my entire family goes to libraries daily sometimes. So it's definitely a space that will benefit the residents of town. Not just for Library Council of Aging, but also access to the state forest, maybe additional parks, places to go walk. Survey after survey, residents have said we want more outdoor space, center of town. Well, this checks all those boxes. Now, we know what the shortcomings were from the town meeting, from the questions and everything else. And quite frankly, as a caveat, when people are up on the mic, I had to watch the video again to kind of listen to what was said on the floor versus what I heard sitting in the front. Two different things from what I wrote down and made note of versus what I heard again when I watched the video down the road. So you're right. I think we need to put more information out there and try again. It's a great project.
I agree. It's just communicating.
Yeah.
And
I will say that Mr. Hawes, Peter Hawes, who's the trustee for, I think, the trust that owns the land, he's offered to give the appraisal to the board, but didn't want it shared publicly. I said, I don't really have an executive session reason
yeah, I
to
don't know if we can do
not.
that.
I said, so if you truly don't want it to be publicized, I can't take it
Yeah.
publicly. So, he, you know, they are trying to do, it, like I said, help us along, but at the same token, they're not pressing to sell this land. It's really because it's the town, and we approached them to sell it to us. I think otherwise it would stay, it's in protected, I think it's in forestry land right now, and it's protected. So in order for them to sell it to anybody else, there's a first right of refusal through that would be offered back to the town anyhow. And I do think he could get close to that $2.4 million for sale. I think they could get that. It is beautiful. And I can share the wetland information that I do have with anybody that wants to see it. It's very minimal wetlands, which is why I picked that 32 acres, because as you go down the hill towards the fire station, it gets wetter and wetter. So I was looking for the best piece.
We were also worried about ledge, right? So there was other things that we had talked about because we've learned from, you know, the police station, right? So there was different things that we were sitting back and having conversations ahead of all this of like, what can we do to make sure that we minimize our risk?
Yeah, but the last thing we want is to buy a piece of land and then you know.
But we need the money to do to continue engineering,
Yeah,
and now I don't have it.
yeah.
So, and they're not gonna probably give us an extension of time to buy it, because we've already been under agreement for some time, so.
So what do we do?
So I think if you want to go back at the apple, we need to do it sooner, and maybe we do 2 articles, one for the engineering and one for the purchase, and, we can always do the purchase at the October town meeting, but as long as we get the money for the engineering, and then we could provide more information to the town as we get it. I mean, we've done preliminary engineering, but we do have some information.
Okay.
Or we don't move forward. I don't,
I know, I wouldn't feel comfortable not trying this again.
Yeah.
I feel like on some level I failed, right? So I want to be able to take another crack at this one and really bring it to and you know what? If at that point we try again and we communicate with, some of the things like you had talked about, it still fails, then okay, then it is what it is. We've tried, we did our best, we put our best foot forward. And so I wouldn't feel comfortable not trying again.
Okay.
Oh, I agree. We'll get more information out to everybody. Now that we know some of the sticking points for some individuals, well, some residents, right? Maybe large swaths of the residents, get the information out to them. We've done our due diligence, above and beyond our due diligence. It's a great project. I really want to continue going forward with this. The residents want this. We need more than 250 residents to be in that room.
Like, is it crazy to put out like a RFP for like land to say like, if you think you have land, we can build?
No, it's done, generally for procurement, you're supposed to do that. What I usually end up doing, I have to put out something that says, before we actually buy this land, that it's a unique piece of land and there's nothing else like it, right?
Yeah.
But it's not, no.
So I wouldn't mind, so that kind of allows us to compare, like, even though I don't think we're gonna find another piece of land here, which checks one of the big boxes for us,
I
which
think
is
it's
centrally
the
located.
biggest box, right?
Right, yeah, I agree, but like, at least we have some kind of comparable that we can, go off of. I mean,
Right.
maybe it just quells some people's fears about us overpaying for this.
There's like, I think there's either 5 or 6 Form As in this land, which a Form A now, they're going for almost $300,000 right out of the gate without touching it. No engineering, no nothing. You can put 6 houses and get like $1.8 million. And then you've got all the backland. So when I look at the value, did I think it was a little bit higher than what I thought it would be? I think it was a tad bit, but not a lot. Like, it's right in there. And
Yeah.
I think that's their appraisal number.
Yep,
Yeah.
and they also have they don't need to sell.
They
Right.
don't need to sell it.
Like that puts
It's
us.
located, it's located where the premium that we need it to be.
Yep,
Yeah, it's a big takeaway. This
So
land
it's
is not
worth
for
spending,
sale.
if say it's 150 grand more than the appraised value, to me, it's worth 150 grand more to have it centrally located.
yeah,
I agree.
And I can get an appraisal, I think it's an absolute waste of money based on what they've told me multiple times.
yep.
So how much would an appraisal cost and what mechanism would we fund it with? Right, how do we fund that?
I can ask for a cost for an appraisal, or like I said, I can ask them again, but I just know that it's gonna be public information, and I don't know why they don't want it to be public, but they don't.
Yeah, and I guess because my thoughts is does it make sense for us to try and do that? Right, like, okay, are we gonna spend, is it gonna be $40,000, and we're gonna say we're gonna quote unquote waste $40,000 to do something that, I don't know how much it
And
would
it's
actually
super
swing the
time
vote.
consuming, that's the problem.
Mhm,
It might take you 4 months.
mhm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's worth at least asking and then seeing, because then the other part is it's great, okay, we think it's worth it, we wanna do it, but how do we fund it? Right, so that'd be something else.
You mean the appraisal?
Yeah, the payment of the
I
appraisal.
mean, I think I could take it out of the professional and tech budget, of my budget, as long as it was under I think I have $20,000 discretionary spending for professional and tech budget.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, so we can talk about that down the road, but it's just something I'm thinking of as we talk, so.
Alright, so what votes do we need right now?
Next steps.
So, as far as the library COA building,
One.
you want to try to buy this land, so that's still the location you want to.
Yeah,
So I think the vote I need is that we move forward with a special town meeting, and Luann and I will work on dates and have that stuff for you next meeting.
Okay, I entertain that motion that Debbie just said.
Motion made.
I wholeheartedly say second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's kind of takes care of 15 and 16, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
All right. Agenda item 17, discussion and vote on stipend for facilities director, which I just saw.
So what this is I know that there's a facilities stipend under facilities that Nadine and Tim, they get them from the union because they do above and beyond for works on the facilities. However, Carl, the actual building commissioner, who actually does so much work on the facilities, does not get a similar stipend. So during our budget discussions, him and I had discussions about this, and there's money put in the budget for him to get a stipend. So it's to get and when you look around, a lot of other towns either have a whole separate facilities department with a person in charge of it, or they're getting a lot more money than what's happening. So this is just a vote to give Carl a facility stipend of $5,000.
For the year.
Yeah.
Any
be
questions
paid
or concerns with that?
No.
No, this is
Honestly, no.
just in the budget. It's already in there.
I didn't hear
You
it.
worked-
No, the budget's already in the budget.
It's
So
already in the budget, yeah. In
It's in his facilities budget. His facilities budget is substantial because all the repairs and stuff are in there, so yeah.
Yep. All right, I have no issues with it. I know he does a lot, and
he also saves us a lot of money in doing other things.
We
so.
just have done a ton since he's been here. I mean, we're still, we're working on Fire Station 1 right now, windows and doors, that's just about done. The HVAC has started in the town hall. He's been working on that on the second floor. He comes in on weekends. He does things above and beyond to keep these facilities moving. So I actually did comparisons myself for this because I almost was in disbelief. So I did look, and he is, a lot of towns are paying a lot more than what we're paying as typical Freetown fashion. Right?
Surprise, I know.
all right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to create a $5,000 stipend for facilities director.
Motion made.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now I'll kick it over to Selectman Lopes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, Personnel Board, item agenda 18. Acknowledge the resignation of John D. Medeiros from labor effective 6/3/2025. All right, thank you, Mr. De Medeiros. Item agenda 19. Acknowledge the letter of notice to retire from Lynette Langevin Uzel effective 8/8/2025.
Just going to correct your date on that. She gave me an updated letter. She's going to retire effective July 7th, 25. 7/7/25.
So, okay. Now, in her original letter, she spoke of 5 weeks of vacation prior to retirement. What's she doing with those weeks of vacation?
So she can't take 5 consecutive weeks of vacation, so I denied her vacation time.
Okay.
So she gets paid out for their vacation time, so I think she didn't understand that.
Yeah.
So it's effectively the same. She's gonna get her money and she's gonna get paid out, but I need the letter of resignation to be sooner so that we can hire
A
someone.
replacement, right?
Because otherwise we can't have 2 assistant treasurer
Yeah. at the same time.
collectors, so, that's why the change. She's still gonna get paid all her vacation time as it rolls over on July 1.
Okay, perfect. Well, vacation's your vacation time. That's what I was making sure that she was getting those. All right, thank you. Well, and thank you, Lynette, for your time with town of Freetown. Sad to see you go, but you left us in a good spot, so thank you.
She's retiring too, so I don't
Yeah.
know if it says that, so that's exciting for her.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit jealous, I'm not gonna
Sure.
lie.
Item agenda 20, discussion and vote whether to appoint Robert Bronco as recording clerk for the Economic Development Committee, Building Committee, Finance Committee, Council of Aging, Library Community Building Committee, Bylaw Review Committee, Commission on Disability Conservation Commission Committee, effective 6/10/2025 through 6/30/2025. Any questions, concerns?
Nope.
All right. Mr. Bronco will be a good addition to our committees. I intend the motion to appoint Robert Bronco as recording clerk for the listed committees on item agenda 20, effective 6/10/2025 through 6/30/2025.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, on agenda 21, discussion and vote whether to approve the following appointments. A, Jared Zager as CERTA designee effective 7/1/2025 through 6/30/2026. B, Bridget Sharp as local finance Commonwealth Fellowship for the town of Freetown effective 7/1/2025 through 8/29/2025 to intern in various financial offices at Town Hall. Two great appointments.
Speak for
So
yourself.
the second one is an intern that's paid for by the state, full-time, a full-time employee that will come and work in the town hall.
Yeah, I read that letter. Pretty
Yeah.
interesting, pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's perfect time, right, because we're losing Lynette, and so we're gonna put this intern right in there.
Maybe
and-
do help with some of the internet stuff,
That's
Yeah.
right.
So,
some of the website.
so I hope it works out. I mean, we'll see, but the state pays them, the town doesn't have any liability. We're just finding out if we have to bond this, employee, but, so exciting.
Absolutely.
Can we just do two separate motions so
Yeah.
Selectman Zager doesn't vote for himself?
Yes,
Correct.
thank you.
All right.
I was gonna just abstain from both of them.
There you go.
'Cause
That works
Yes.
too.
You can just abstain from both of them, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, rather than calling it out as two separate ones.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
gonna have to like.
I'll
do 2 minute
abstain, all
recess.
right. All right, I intend motion to,
For 2 minutes.
you have anything? Okay. All right, I intend motion to appoint, sorry, I lost my train of thought. All right, item agenda 21. I intend the motion to appoint Zara Zega as CERTA designee effective 7/1/2025 through 6/30/2026, and Bridget Sharp to, as a fellowship for the town of Freetown for effective 7/1/2025 through 8/29/2025.
I'll make that motion.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, item agenda 22, discussion vote whether to roll over 5 vacation days. Town planner Nancy Durfee was unable to utilize FY25 to FY26. So my questions are, she has not been here a full year, and so I just don't see, how many vacation days we talk about? So it's 5 vacation days.
Yeah, as soon as they're hired, they get 5 vacation days as personnel bylaw, so she didn't use them because we had so much going on, so she didn't roll them over.
Didn't we have a similar vote, not just a couple of years ago, regarding the same thing? We roll over vacation days? And,
The vote we had a few years ago, well, we
could've
had, after 3 years, you get
Right.
15 days, right? I think that's what we had.
yeah. I'm trying to think what the vote was. Was it that we weren't gonna roll over vacation days
Oh, we
anymore?
weren't gonna roll over, but I told her
Right.
that I would roll these over. I did because she couldn't use them, and I didn't want her to use them because I needed her to be here. with
And I think
the
this is a unique situation too, because she started at the end of the
That's,
fiscal year.
that's what I was trying to
Yeah.
figure out. I was
Yeah.
like, how come we're here again? But
Yeah, that's why, because I told her I would, because I needed her. I was trying to do MBTA communities and all of that, and she came in, and couldn't use her vacation time.
Yep.
Yeah, her time was needed more in town hall than her taking days off just to take them off so she didn't lose them.
Right,
so.
especially right now, I needed her. So this
Yeah.
was, I pretty much told her she could do this, and
just want to make sure everyone takes their vacation time. It's important for them to take it. It's good to get a break from town hall. I know sometimes we don't have that opportunity. I
I'm sure
understand
she'll
that.
take some this summer, but I didn't want her to lose out. I, like I said, I kinda told her that I would do this because I needed her to be here.
Okay. All right. Any concerns, comments? All right.
Nope, sounds makes sense to me.
I entertain a motion to, let's see here. I did a motion to roll over 5 vacation days for our town planner Nancy Durfee from FY25 to FY26.
I'll make that motion.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Board and Parks Commission, Selectman Zager.
Thank you, Selectman Lopes, I appreciate it. Agenda item number 23, discussion and vote on questions on license for Freetown Lakeville Soccer Club, Inc. So recently, we were going through, we had the licensing agreement stuff, and soccer has talked about taking a piece over at KRR, but it looks like their attorney did have some questions for us. We did have this in our last meeting, but kind of held it off because there was a bunch of questions in and around it, so for us to go through.
Did we send those questions to our attorney? Because I read those questions and they sound like really attorney questions.
I didn't send them, I mean, I didn't, I actually honestly didn't look, I just looked at them today. I know that they came in, but with town meeting and everything. I I mean, I can answer the questions. There's really not anything here that I think we should change.
Okay, that's really what I was
If that
asking.
makes
Yeah.
sense. I mean,
I think they're looking into this like it's some sort of thing that's much stronger than what it is, right? Where I don't want to go back and forth with this spending money on council, to go back and forth with them when we're trying to do something that's free of charge.
and all the other
$1 a
committees
year.
sign this,
Yeah.
right? They sign the same agreement. So
Mhm.
I certainly I will address this.
One interesting one, it says you need a one-day permit for any event that has more than 150 attendees.
Yes, and I tell you why, we added that, because we had a problem with football, I think it was football last year, where we had people parked everywhere,
Oh, yeah.
all over the town, all up and down the town, Beach Road, all up on County
For a
Road,
tournament.
and, yep, they had a tournament, and we had no idea.
Yeah.
And the one-day permit is just to let us know, so police
Yeah,
and
yeah,
fire
yeah.
are aware of it, it's not that we're gonna restrict you or say you can't do it.
Yep.
It's just that when you have these large crowds, do you have 150? I don't think there's 150 attendees at every single thing. I mean.
I have no idea.
I mean, we're not gonna have
Little
people out there with
Fenway, right.
clickers counting heads as they
Right.
walk through the door, but it's just, yeah, I got what you're saying, yeah.
It's just more of a heads up, hey, we're gonna be having a tournament and expect a large crowd. Give us the paperwork, give us a heads up. It's more of a courtesy for us, because that caused great issues over there when we were having that, it was issues for the police, and we had no idea it was happening. So that's what it is, but it's in every one of them.
That was my question. The 150, that's for every single lease we have for every single
Every
sports,
single one of
right?
them
So
has it
copy and
in
paste to
there.
everybody.
They have the same exact agreements. I didn't change the agreements for them. They're all the
Okay,
same.
then,
Yeah.
And I mean, like I said, what's the punishment if they don't get a one-day permit and they have 151 attendees? There's no punishment here. It's more of, hey, if you think you're gonna have a big tournament, let us know,
yeah.
so that we can make sure that our police and fire
It's a
are
respect thing
called.
on both sides.
Yeah,
I
and
got
what's
you.
your plan for parking, and what's your plan for the porta-john type things? Because those are the issues that we all have when we have those large crowds.
Food,
That's all it is. It's
different
not
things,
something
right.
that's restrictive. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be restrictive, but.
That makes sense to me.
But this came in after that whole debacle over there, which
Mm.
is why I added it to the language of the license, but they all got the same language.
All right.
Obviously, we want indemnification language, so that if something happens on the field under their watch, it's their issue.
Right.
Um,
Again, same thing with every other league as a lease.
So I'll just respond, I mean, I think, like they said, they send it to their attorney, so I'll respond, but I don't see any, where some of the other stuff was legit, we could say, hey, what do you guys, how you want me to reword this one just seems like, no, it is what it is.
Well, I think they're so used to having the use of Ted Williams Camp, right, working with the town of Lakeville, that I think their concerns are, we're paying this much money for the town of Lakeville, they do X, Y, Z for us. How does this look from the town of Freetown, where it's $1 a year? It's really, here's the land, maintain it, keep it presentable. You deal with trash, you have your own bathrooms, your own electricity. The town's hands off. We'll help cut the grass. However, you're using the field for your own discretion. I get it. There's some hiccups or some heartburn that maybe when they think about it is like, oh, we're taking on a little bit more responsibility. However, you're paying less per
So,
year, $1
I'll
a year.
respond to them and bring
Right.
it back to you guys. I mean,
Okay.
I agree.
Okay,
See what they have
thank
to
you.
say.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're looking at it too literally, right?
Yeah.
Like some of
Yeah.
this stuff, rather than this is the town trying to do right by our residents, right? We want soccer here because of our residents, right? We just talked before about having people complain about centrally located buildings here. Well, we're telling all our residents that they have to go to Lakeville or other places in order to play soccer, then that's not fair. So I do think that there's added value on multiple levels, so.
Yeah, and I agree with them as far as having something centrally located. For instance, that plot of land behind the COA, the baseball fields, that's ripe for future development for some type of soccer or softball. That should still be there, but it's a different
Yeah,
discussion.
maybe we'll look at that with our money that we get for studies.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right, so that's all
Yeah.
for parts, nice.
Well, do we sign it? As the discussion to sign it, and then if nothing changes from them, it's already all set? As far
Well,
as
I
the
think we
agreement?
need to be able to have Debbie go back to them, go with this, and then they're probably gonna come back at it. So I just don't wanna sign something yet because we don't have, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
I just want to bring up something with the fire station addition that's not on here, but I just got the information, been working on it. As you know, we've been behind schedule on that. We've been struggling with the general contractor. And so we have contracts with the OPM and the architect, and they both have come in with change orders that are substantial. Now, I have the authority to sign agreements, but I wanted to update you and make sure that you were okay with it. It looks like the OPM is looking for an additional $137,000, and the architect is looking for $87,500 additional. So the architect cannot be paid until that we approve a change order. I have them here if you want to look at them, and neither can the OPM. I'm gonna have conversations with them. But I will tell you, they've been out there every single day. So I really have a hard time. They're substantial change orders, but they've been out there every single day because the general contractor is just a struggle. It's been a struggle. So I feel like they're giving me, they're putting in the effort, and if they weren't, we would have a lousy building. So while these are painful, I think, painful, we have the money, we have funded, but they're painful. I think they're valid. So I just don't want to sign anything unless you guys are okay with it.
I've been involved with this, right, with you and the building committee, and seeing what they're dealing with is not easy. And to your point, having to continuously go out there, and I mean, I get it, time is money, so it does stink to have to spend this much more, but I also get why they're coming back asking for more money, because it has been that bad.
It has been that bad. They have a clerk that works there every single day, the OPM, so they have to pay him, and we're 120 days beyond schedule. So that's, 4 months of time that they didn't plan on paying somebody every single day to be out there. So that's really where his extra money's coming from.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they have to have boots on the ground because to
Yeah.
babysit.
Yep.
Well,
As
that's my
well as
question.
them go out there, sorry, they're finding issues, and then it's more than just one guy going there now. They're calling in the boss, and the boss's
Yeah.
boss,
Yep.
right? And in a company that's really not that big of a company, it's the owner now coming here and showing up and, getting involved.
Yeah, and then the GC is asking questions that are ridiculous, and so the architect is constantly responding. And then when they make a mistake, the architect's trying to figure out how they can salvage what's been done wrong, can it work, and they've got to bring in their subs to say, yeah, this is okay, or this is not okay. It's been a nightmare, I'm not gonna lie to you. So I don't feel like anybody's getting rich off of these change orders. I think it's necessity, and they're only really billing us for the additional time and materials that they've had to put into this job.
Gotcha.
Again,
Well,
4
it's-
extra
It's
months.
$250,000 extra.
It's a lot of money.
Right,
That's
so
why I'm
what's-
not just signing these. I wanted to bring it to your attention and know that this has been an ongoing issue.
All right, it's 120 days, but what's the issue, right? So right now, one building's built, they're trying to connect to the other building. So the
The
architect,
issue has been every
It's not
step of
just
the way.
one, it's not just one thing, it's been
I
everything.
mean,
Lately,
I
it's
can't even tell
everything.
you.
I mean, walls are built the wrong height, like,
right,
like,
so at some point,
The grade on
Yeah.
flooring.
The
they
foundation was put in
recently-
the wrong
but
place.
Yeah, the foundation was put in the wrong place.
Yeah.
I think it's,
so.
good question?
Yeah, so if this is a failure on the part of the general contractor, I'm assuming that it's a pretty tight contract that was written, and time is of the essence somewhere in the contract.
Yes.
If it's a failure of the general contractor, why should the townspeople pay for this? Why don't we claw it back from the general contractor?
So-
I mean, play a little bit of hardball and show that Freetown isn't gonna do the same thing over there that we did with the police station and give all the contingency money away.
Well, that's where I was leading to. So here we are talking about $250,000, 120 days past due. This was due, gosh, in the wintertime. Here we are looking at it still. So now we're hearing what the foundation was poured in the wrong place. Is that really the town of Freetown's issue versus?
It's been fixed, right? So we've had these issues, so yes, at the end of this, we have put them on notice. We've consistently been sending out letters, we've been rejecting things that are wrong. It's been quite the lengthy process. I have a letter of rejection today on a slab that was poured, doesn't have the right pitch to it, so it's gonna be ripped out and redone. So and that's a result of the OPM and the architect consistently reviewing, and then they gotta go back and document and write these letters of rejection that they have to send to the OPM, that then sends to me, that then I send to the company. It's been ongoing. So at the end of this project, we had a choice midway through to throw off the general contractor or continue. And it was a decision made with multiple parties that if we had thrown the GC off, we would have never gotten this job done. It would have been very difficult because nobody wants to come in and be in the middle of somebody else's work. So we've proceeded with caution, I will say, really inspecting 110% of everything they do, really got eyes on this. Not to mention, I have to say, the fire department's been amazing. They're there every day. They're watching. They're paying close attention, alerting us to any issues that they think are going on. So yes, at the end of this, it'll be a back and forth negotiating, because technically every day over the time limit, they gotta pay the town $1,000 a day. So we're 120 days over a time limit, they owe us $120,000. And that money is to cover these expenses of these additional OPMs and architects. But there's other things that I'll be fighting with them, and we've already got town council involved in this.
So were the change orders a result of failures on the GC's part? Or were the change orders?
There's legitimate change orders, right? There are some, I'm gonna say that.
Change orders, preferences, Freetown's preferences that generated change orders, I can understand, we have to pay for that. But if the contractor makes a mistake, he eats it. And unfortunately, I think towns we don't like lawsuits. I understand we don't like lawsuits. But if the GC is at fault and we sue the GC, we recover our legal fees.
Yes, if we prevail, but you know how these things go, right? It doesn't mean we're gonna prevail.
I know how they go, but at a certain point, you have to set a precedent, you have to stand your ground, and you have to say, you can't come to Freetown and just say you're gonna build X, build Y, and walk away and say, oh, well, too bad, Freetown's not coming after us, after you. We're talking about building, who knows how many million, whether it's $6 million or $12 million library senior center, and I don't wanna see that building, whatever size it is, end up looking like anything near the quality of the police station, which was a big disappointment. I'll say that publicly. I can walk through that building, and quite frankly, I can look in this pod and say, there's not a lot of obvious failings in this pod where the joinery or whatever, there's a little crack there that isn't exactly right. But you go in a police station, a $13 million project, and it's a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
So
I didn't say we, I mean,
really would like to see the board put their foot down.
Yeah.
Well, I think all that would have to preference on what the agreement would be, right? If they came back to us in the agreement, say I'm gonna throw round numbers out there, we want 200,000, they're only willing to give us 50,000, we wouldn't agree on that, and then that might be the next step. And Deb, you could probably speak more to that, but.
I mean, town council's involved. We're working, this is not going to be,
Yeah.
Freetown's just gonna pay and we're not getting anything back.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that we're waiting to sort of get to the end, look at all of our letters and documentation and everything, and get into a mediation. I don't think I think they understand that, I understand that. We do not want to go to court over this. We will. I'm not afraid of that, as you all know. But I think that we're just gonna go back and forth and hash it out and come up with a settlement that makes sense for both the town and the contractor at some point, because they cannot argue that there have not been a lot of failings. They have. And they've agreed to a lot of it. Even some of the latest things we've gotten, they've agreed that things were wrong. Now they're trying to go after the subs, so it just gets further and further
But
out.
the GC is responsible for the subs they hire.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
That's the whole point
Right.
of hiring a GC. When I build my new house, I'm gonna hire a GC. So I only have to grab one person by the proverbial throat.
I hope it works
and
well
not,
for you.
15 different subs.
So we're not done with it. This is just, I have to keep paying these people, and I need to be able to do that in the interim. Or they're gonna walk and we're gonna have whatever we have, so.
Yeah, I think we have consensus. I think, I totally understand what you're saying. I think that it's not the architect and the OPM's fault that, you know,
That
that.
we're here, no.
Yeah, so I understand, but definitely, I agree with you, right? You gotta just, and there will be, conversations and
Yes.
situations later.
Unfortunately.
All right, so we ready to sign now? We don't need to vote on that, do we?
Like I said, you've already authorized me to sign, but I wanted to make sure
Yeah,
that
you
you wanted
communicated
to
it.
sign those,
I-
because they were big numbers.
Totally understand. I appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
All right.
So what's list for the fire department?
Donnie Paraguay, is that how you say it?
Hardware. And then you should go deliver it.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yes.
Oh, it's my meeting on Wednesday for the architect.
I'm bad at sneezing.
Abatements
You're the
and
youngest one in
write-offs.
the room.
And you can say it publicly. We also agree that the police station wasn't done very well as far as construction wise.
No, that's my personal opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Pay rate for per diem transfer station.
I think our maintenance fees we've been paying will,
Right, that speaks to it alone.
yeah.
Sure. Senior center policy.
We'll just blame COVID, like the rest of the world.
Call firefighter rates. This is the new website that's just new. Wish us luck. Thank you. That's contract.
How long have Matt been here now?
How long have you been here?
No, Matt.
Matt? It's 3 years then.
3 years,
Wow,
yeah.
yeah, it's nice for your contracts, I figured.
And Retirement
That
for
went by
walkway
fast.
improvements.
I've been here my 6th year, right? Oh, this is my 6th year.
This is the new recording clerk.
Crazy.
Fellow that we're having here.
I had a fellowship in college, it was the best gig ever.
Vacation rollover. Yeah.
Okay, well, almost there. All right, y'all good? All right, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.